Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Have you heard of the Mayapuri? Have you heard of the Gita Nagari? Hey, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Okay, good morning, dear devotees. Um, Today we are reading from, no surprise here, Srimad Bhagavatam, uh, Canto 6, chapter 17, verse 26 and 27. Okay, so 26 reads as follows. Tatastu Bhagavan Rudranim idam abravit devarshidetya siddhanam parsadhanam jasrinvatam Tatastu Bhagavan Rudranim idam abravit devarshidetya siddhanam parsadhanam jasrinvatam. Okay, translation. I'll do the word for word for the next one. Thereafter, in the presence of the great sage Narada, the demons, the inhabitants of Siddhaloka, and his personal associates, Lord Shiva, who is most powerful, spoke to his wife Parvati while they all listened. So interestingly enough, now we're going to hear, I believe this is the first instance of Lord Shiva speaking, see how he is perceiving this whole um, incident that's taking place. Okay, so text 27. Shirudra uvaja dvistvatyasi shushoni hare adbhukta karmana mahatmyam pritya prityanam nisprihanam mahatmanam dvistavidyasi shushoni hare adbhukta karmana mahatmyam pritya prityanam nisprihanam mahatmanam Mahatma Trist Avat Yasi Shushoni Rare Adbhuta Karmanaha Mahatmyam Pritya Prityanam Nisprihanam Mahatmanam. Okay, word for word. Shri Rudra Uvacha. Who is Rudra? Lord Shiva. The Lord Shiva said, Drist Vati Asi, have you seen? Shoni, O beautiful Parvati, Hare, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Adbhuta Karman, whose acts are wonderful, Mahatmyam, the greatness, Britya Brityanam, of the servants of the servants, Nisbrihana, who are without ambitions for sense gratification, Mahatmana, great souls. Translation. Okay, Lord, here we go. Lord Shiva, I'm so excited to hear what Lord Shiva is about to say in terms of all this cursing and, whether rightful or wrong. Let's see what Lord Shiva's got to say. Lord Shiva said, My dear, beautiful Parvati, have you seen the greatness of the Vaishnavas? Being servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, they are great souls and are not interested in any kind of material happiness. Purport. Lord Shiva, the husband of Parvati, told his wife, My dear Parvati, you are very beautiful in your bodily features. Certainly you are glorious, but I do not think that you can compete with the beauty and glory of devotees who have become servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of course, Lord Shiva smiled when he joked with his wife in that way, for others cannot speak like that. Quote, Supreme Lord, end quote, Shiva continued, is always exalted in his activities. And here is another example of his wonderful influence upon King Chittaketu, his devotee. Just see, although you cursed the king, he was not at all afraid or sorry. Rather, he offered respect to you, called you mother, and accepted your curse. Thinking himself faulty, he did not say anything in retaliation. This is the excellence of a devotee. By mildly tolerating your curse, he has certainly excelled the glory of your beauty and your power to curse him. I can impartially judge that this devotee, Chittaketu, has defeated you and your excellence simply by becoming a pure devotee of the Lord. End quote. As stated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Tarur api sahishnana. Just like a tree, a devotee can tolerate all kinds of curses and reversals in life. This is the excellence of a devotee. I should read that sentence again. Just like a tree, a devotee can tolerate all kinds of curses and reversals in life. This is the excellence of a devotee. Indirectly, Lord Shiva forbade Parvati to commit the mistake of cursing a devotee like Chittaketu. He indicated that although she was powerful, the king, without showing any power, had excelled her power by his tolerance. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Bhakti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyata Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsa Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shiva Shakalitamscha Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, is this a plot twist? I don't know, maybe. It's certainly interesting. Lord Shiva's um Lord Shiva's response where he seems to be uh interesting glorifying his seeming to glorify his wife, saying, "Oh, you are so beautiful." But at the same time, um, yeah, just he's tactically instructing her that you are so beautiful, but just see who's even more beautiful. The exalted, uh, you know, good character Vaishnavas. So Lord Shiva, yeah, very expert in um, instructing his wife in a very palatable way to her. And yeah, so we're seeing in this verse that Lord Shiva is saying that is describing the beauty of the Vaishnavas. Um, so like Srila Prabhupada said that, when he sees the devotees in Tilak with Kunti Mala, with, Shika, says they look they look like persons coming straight from Vaikuntha. And yeah, and it's quite true. The beauty of the devotees. I was just we had this retreat this weekend, and um, at least when the weather did allow, the devotees were out taking lunch in the grass outside the welcome center, and it was just very festive, and lots of colors, of course. All the devotees wearing their different outfits, and it was such a beautiful sight to just see the devotees, you know, roaming around um, the park and taking prasadam, and yeah, it was a very beautiful sight to see, and you know, little baby kids with tilak, if you can even, it's tilak, but it doesn't exactly resemble what the traditional marks look like. Um, but it's so cute, so adorable, and just yeah, cultured devotees, seeing them was such a beautiful sight. I know my I have a friend who in Florida who's a police officer, a devotee police officer, and he would say that after dealing with, the lowest people that naturally you deal with as a in that line of work, um, when he would go to the temple and just see these families, these pure families living by the Vaishnava principles, he said he, un, he would just uncontrollably be overcome with tears of emotion just by seeing this. So yeah, the beauty of the Vaishnavas is certainly something very tangible, and uh, we're seeing we're seeing here that Lord Shiva is glorifying these qualities. Um, so yeah, the I was just reading a book, uh, and it was saying that in that book it was mentioning how uh, just one passing line in the book, wasn't a devotee book, but it was saying that the beauty, it was describing someone who didn't exactly have the greatest beauty. She had like freckles and like a kind of like a tooth out of place, and um, but the line in the book was something like, the uh, any lacking in beauty can be overcome. Any lacking in this physical beauty could be overcome by the character of someone. Um, so that's the actual beauty. And so when we hear these about these qualities, we can see, like, as we were reading this, I was thinking of Prahlad Maharaj and how he also tolerated so much. Um, yeah, he also tolerated a great deal, even to the extent of his father wanting to kill him. But what was Prahlad Maharaj's disposition? Well, it's said that because he was thinking of the Lord, because he was always in deep meditation of the Lord, then he was able to um, tolerate all kinds of, injustice that was placed towards him. So he's there's different acharyas, different exemplary characters for these different uh, 9 processes of devotional service, and Prahlad Maharaj is the acharya of uh, remembering. So by this, it's amazing. By this remembrance of the Lord, he was able to display this wonderful quality of being tolerant in all these, you know, crazy, heinous uh, acts that were placed towards him. Um, so it's really, it's it's this consciousness that will actually get us through all these upheavals in this world. Um, if one has a desire to live in this world and not experience turmoil, and then one's desires are just that's actually a dead man's desires. Because as long as one is in this world, so many things will happen. It's just, yeah, the nature of this world. But, and people can try to make material adjustments this way, that way. So many things are there, so many self-help books and, uh, health fads to try to counteract all these things. But as Kalashri Prabhu was saying in his class yesterday, based on our past pious and impious activities, then these uh, things will inevitably happen to us. So yeah, how to tolerate all of them? Um, well, yeah, the way is to keep things in perspective, and that perspective is given through the Shastra. So, like, I was talking with one devotee yesterday. He was saying how much yesterday's class uh, had helped him like deal with the situation. Um, so it was, yeah, in other words, it was this transcendental knowledge, that perspective coming from the Shastra, that gave solace that, okay, this was due to my past, misdeeds. Um, as Kastru Guru so nicely put it yesterday, that it's just like paying off a debt. So, um, yeah, one can be very grateful in good and bad circumstances, knowing that, okay, one is just uh, clearing one's debt like that. So this is actually, yeah, this um, this wisdom that we have, actually, like as Prabhupada says, allows you to make the best use of a bad bargain. Um, so the bad bargain is coming to this material world, getting material body, and all the subsequent horrors that come with that. Um, I can remember there was actually a website, and in this website, people could just rant like about all the terrible things that happened to them. I won't say what the website is called, because there's at least one profane word. Huh? No, not Facebook. There's at least one profane word in there. But yeah, I guess Facebook also, people just vent. But specifically on this website, it wasn't Facebook. Um, People would just say like, I came home and my whatever, my cat was dead, and then uh, my car had a flat tire, and then I realized there was nothing in the fridge, and then I got a call from work that I got fired, and then um, I whatever, no one liked my Facebook post. So it was just like a string of just terrible events that would happen. Um, yeah, but and this website is filled with these stories where it's like, wow, how can someone tolerate all this? Just like boom, boom, one hit after another. Um, but with this transcendental knowledge, things are actually put in perspective. that, you know, this is what this material world is. You know, we all these this actually isn't a place of enjoyment. We're actually meant to get out. Um, you know, we can like this. We can take a lesson from each thing that happens, each significant thing, everything that happens in life. We can take a lesson from. You know, this life is meant to be a- like a school for reformation, um, where and if one sees things with that perspective, then one can see, okay, yeah, whatever happens in life, let me let me use it as a way to get closer to Krishna. Uh, so because the devotees live by principles. The devotees are very principle centered. You know, and the main principle being that, you know, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. We're meant to serve him. So um, with this kind of position and with this, like, yeah, constitution, then one should navigate all life in that way. Like, okay, this happened. All right, well, let's see. I'm a devotee. Um, you know, how is a devotee supposed to respond in this situation? How's a devotee supposed to respond in that situation? Like seeing everything within that context. And in this way, uh, think whatever challenge comes up is actually just another way that one can express one's um, one's devotion and one's, you know, dedication to being a servant. So in this way, yeah, life becomes uh, a game in a sense that one is confronted with certain situations, and then uh, one, you know, responds according to one's principles as a devotee. So this is what we see. So the Bhagavatam, yeah, it's filled with all these different stories like this, where people, yeah, where upheavals came, and then they just became glorified by their response to that. So like Parikshit Maharaj, he was cursed to die, and then what did he do? Okay, he didn't. He it's explained he actually did have the power to counteract that curse, but instead of counteracting it, he accepted it as the blessing of the Lord and said, "Okay, I'm going to go to the bank of the Ganges, fast, and hear about the Lord for the remaining 7 days. You know, uh, let the snake bird come." So apparently, in the early days, when, you know, the devotees were doing fired up book distribution, and when they would go out to a tough spot, or, you know, just sometimes just getting out is tough in general, whether it's a good spot or not. But the devotees would have this saying that let the snake bird bite. So uh, this was their mentality, was that um, yeah, whatever happens, like let's tolerate and and you know, push on with the service. So yeah, just see Parikshit Maharaj's response to this. You know, what worse of a curse can one get than that? That in 7 days one is cursed to die. You know, one knows that a snake bird is going to come bite him. That'd be pretty scary. You know, talk about like talk about being in alert mode. Like probably probably anytime you see something in the corner of your eye, you're like, is that the snake bird? Is that the snake bird? Um, so yeah, the Bhagavatam is filled with this Prahlad Maharaj, like I was saying earlier, and um, yeah, and then because of this position, then they became so much glorified. So um, so yeah, so this is the beauty of the devotees. This quality um, is their internal qualities that they have, and by displaying these qualities, then the Lord is actually pleased. Like we see in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is he's saying who is dear to him, and he's giving all these descriptions of how to become dear to the Lord. Just like you might have conversations with your significant other, like, when you do this, I get annoyed, or when you do this, I like it. So in the same way, Krishna's telling us, um, yeah. So one of the things he says is one who is not envious, but who is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself the proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled. Text 12:15. He whom no one is put into difficulty, and who is not disturbed by anyone. So I always think of this when I want to like. I mean, I definitely don't want to hit the peacocks with my car, but sometimes I want to like maybe throw something at them, or maybe like pretend like run up to them like as if I'm gonna kick them or something. But then I always remember this. Oh dang, Krishna says we shouldn't put anyone into difficulty. Okay, all right, peacock, you got lucky this time. Um, and of course, as my Guru Maharaj explains it, Prabhupada said one time that this also means not putting yourself into difficulty. My devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result. So yeah, Krishna is saying here, Krishna has all these different qualities uh, uh, that he likes. He actually likes. He likes that we develop these qualities. Um, so if one can think of one's you know one can think of one's self-improvement as actually being endearing to the Lord. That, yeah, actually, uh, Krishna actually wants me to be a better person, wants me to be tolerant, all that kind of stuff. Um, because, as it said, one Prabhupada says that one has to develop certain qualities in order uh, to be a servant of Krishna. Like um, and I think he gives the example that uh, yeah, just like a servant in the house, the master wants to see that the servant has certain qualities in order to serve him. So in that same way, yeah, uh, Krishna wants to see our resume of like good qualities that we have. And this is this nice story that exemplifies this in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, um, where Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was one of the leading Mayavadis in Jagannath Puri, uh, he's great. great personality there and took care of the Jagannath temple, and but he was a he was a staunch Mayavad impersonalist. Um, and when Lord Chaitanya came, uh, there's Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, there's a story where he saw Lord Chaitanya faint in the temple room. He takes him back to his home, like that. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's, I believe, brother-in-law, Gopinathacharya, was a great devotee, a personalist, and he knew who Lord Chaitanya was. Um, and when Lord Chaitanya uh, came into the life of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Gopinathacharya tried to instruct his brother-in-law that this is actually God. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was like arguing this way, that way, from this Shastra, that Shastra, saying how, oh, the Lord, he's known as Tri Yuga. That means he only comes in 3 yugas. And then Gopinathacharya would hit back. No, it's explained that, he's the Chandan avatar, the hidden avatar, and it is actually described that there's a golden incarnation, and that's Lord Chaitanya. So like this, they were having, shastric tongue fu. Um, and at one point, Gopinath Acharya says, you know what? Sorry, going back to Acharya, like, you're not going to be able to understand this. And you're not going to be able to understand this reality until, unless and until you get the mercy of the Lord. Like, sorry, you're not going to be able to figure it out by your like mental speculation like that. It's only when the Lord favors you. So in this way, so Sarvam Bhattacharya, probably had some argument for that. Um, then one day, uh, Sarvam Bhattacharya, he, God, I can't remember what was the impetus for it, but somehow he humbled himself and uh, he accepted that, okay, actually, what my what my brother-in-law was saying, you know, could actually be right. So he humbled himself and um, he accepted that, okay, this person, this you know sannyas personality who came in my presence and whose personality I was kind of confused by, he actually could be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then it's explained at that moment, the Lord came to him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to him, put his foot on his head, and actually revealed his form as Radha Krishna. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. So Lord Chaitanya is actually Radha and Krishna combined. And when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya gave like he shed, you can just imagine he shed this like subtle body of like criticism and uptightness and mental speculation. So he kind of like gave that up. It's like a butterfly. A butterfly gives up the cocoon and then it just flies so beautifully. So similarly, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya just gave up these bad qualities that were taking him away from devotional service, and then became a wonderful butterfly. Um, and yeah, Lord Chaitanya like I said, put his feet on his head, revealed his form as Radha Krishna, and then from there it was all downhill in a good way, downhill was good, because Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya started just exhibiting like ecstatic symptoms. You know, him and Lord Chaitanya started hugging day and night, like like you know, just by the mere touch of each other, they would both go into ecstasy like this. Um, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya wrote, composed these beautiful prayers to the Lord, and then side point, but there's this famous verse, Nija Nija Yoga, what is it? Anyways, Lord, it's still a famous verse that's often quoted, where it said that through bhakti one gets knowledge and detachment. If someone knows that, if someone can pull up that verse, that'd be some real Bhagavatam pundit points. Yeah, there's two famous verses that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya composed, which are still often quoted. So like this, so this impetus for um, kind of these floodgates opening was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's becoming humble, and just like we're hearing in the verse and purport today, that accepting the servants of the Lord, becoming a servant of the Lord. Um, so yeah, we can all see, we can all use this as impetus to see the potency of uh, yeah, shedding away these qualities that are actually taking us away from Krishna, and um, humbling oneself in a way, humbling oneself so that one can um, be a receptacle of the mercy of the Lord. Um, okay, so maybe I'll stop there. If any questions or comments are there, okay, come on up, Amila.
Is that last time we started about Bhattacharya, the one that you were citing, the same one where he instructs like the test of the student, and then Lord Chaitanya like, I understand perfectly like
Yeah.
stuff was, but not what he said, and then he instructs him, and then everyone's like, oh.
Yeah, so Manapali is asking if this is the same pastime where Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is, explaining, like trying to explain, um, giving like an explanation. Um, I believe it was of the Amaranga verse. So this takes place right after that. This takes place after that. But we can see there also that Lord Chaitanya, he was so expert in exhibiting these Vaishnava qualities. He Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya wanted to instruct him, and Lord Chaitanya, you know, tolerated hearing this Mayavad take on the Shastra, and um, yeah, by exhibiting that quality, then in turn Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was willing to listen to him, and then yeah, ultimately became a devotee. And yeah, there we go. Thank you, Yasir. Vairagya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shiksharthi Eka Purusha Purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sarira Dari Kripam Budiyasta Maham Prapadye. Let me take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who has descended in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach us real knowledge, His devotional service and detachment from whatever does not foster Krishna consciousness. He has descended because he is an ocean of transcendental mercy. Let me surrender unto his lotus feet. I love that. He's teaching real knowledge, his devotional service, and detachment from whatever does not foster Krishna consciousness. I've been thinking that we had that class recently, and it was said that Prabhu was saying the effects of offenses are one one of the effects of being a Vaishnava aparad is that one becomes attached to things that take one away from devotional service. So I've been trying to examine like what am I what habits do I have? What habits and attachments do I have that are taking me away from devotional service? Um, yeah, so look, yeah. So I think that might have been it that in that conversation, Lord Chaitanya heard him, and then Lord Chaitanya gave the explanation of the Atmaram verse in 64 different ways. And then I think that humbled Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and that was the catalyst for um, him being humble and then getting the mercy. Yeah. Okay, anyone else?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Thakur.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you for a really nice class. Every time you give class, I'm impressed, and I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be, but I don't know what it is. I think it's because I don't know, you generally come across as um, humble and unassuming, but then you give these classes that are it's just really impressive, full of lots of profound points and well supported by Shastra. So I'm always impressed. Anyway, you mentioned um, some verses that speak about knowledge and detachment, and there are actually you mentioned that there were two in particular, but there are a great many, very many. The one one very often quoted that comes to my mind. I mean, is a second one that is also very famous, and it's slipping my mind at the moment. I think it's in the 11th canto, but there's Vasudevi Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayat Yashuvairagyam Gyanam Cha Yad Ahaitukam, that by rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. Um, there are many other mentions, and from different angles. Sometimes the same idea, sometimes different ideas, but also talking about knowledge and detachment. So, for example, in the third canto, there is um, talk about the benefit of um, devotees, the association of devotees, and the seventh chapter of the third canto, there is a verse. It says, spotless devotees of the Lord have mentioned the source of such knowledge. How could one have knowledge, a devotional service, and detachment without the help of such devotees? Um, Also in the third canto, there is um, one verse that says, simply by hearing about your lotus feet with eagerness and devotion, and by meditating upon them within the heart, one at once becomes enlightened with knowledge, and on the strength of detachment, one becomes pacified. We must therefore take shelter of the sanctuary of your lotus feet. And as I mentioned, there's another verse that I haven't. on the tip of my tongue, and I can't remember it. Pretty sure it's in the 11th canto, and I just can't remember exactly where it is now or what it was. But same idea of knowledge and detachment, um, spontaneously arising from devotional service. Um, anyway, I'm not sure if that one or the first one I mentioned are the ones you were looking for, but that simple one comes to my mind. Um, thanks for another great class, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Shri Guru Charana Pama Kevala Bhakta Shri Sadma. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Guru Jaya Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare. Shri Advaita Gadadhara Swami Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopi Shama Radha Kunja Ki Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Ki Jai Mahaprabhu Ki Jai 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 Yamu Jai 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 Samo Veda Dora Veda Ki Yuga Dan Hara Shankar Amun Ki Kanta Rajman Veda Ki Veda Dora All Sin Yordi Third was concerns. Very commodities. But it's motion materials. Change what's efficient. One which is how much is spirit. The words eliminated in the mouth. God's work is Lord speaks perfection, fills all with dark eyes, fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth of the word. From him ecstatic, coming emanates by his figurative growth. The Vedic 30% is there. Ours is mercy. Friendly poor, Lord of Master, us. It is slavery will be given to all who will take struggle in the city. Nagari follows if Shri Krishna Bhagavan Shishya Danda Famous.